Hey everybody, do you remember several months ago, I think it was in December, I posted some Girl Scout bags that I made, and they're completely lined, they have a little pocket, and they have the strap. So I posted these. This one I've messed up, it's way wonky. So what I'm going to do is take it over to the cutter and I'm going to follow the line of the bubbles here and just straighten it out and research it. It's no big deal. But I also made the smaller bag. I really think these are cute. They just needed to be a few inches deeper, because longer. If they would have been 2 to 3 inches longer, they'd be perfect, but they're too thin. There's not deep enough for maybe just a wallet, but it's just for little girls, so I'll send them to them. But that's what we're making, are these bags. And have you seen the craze all over on YouTube and everywhere for the placemat bags? Well, Pioneer Woman has these placemats, and they're really nice. They're puffy. They have a nice little puff to them, and they're just a diamond or a square. And you could make this, if you don't have quilting, you can just buy these. But if you have the quilting in your machine, you know we make a ton of these quilted fabric, so you don't need to buy this unless you want to. They're $3.49 or $4.39, one or the other. I can't remember the price. To me, that's a little expensive, because if you buy fabric on sale, it'd be much cheaper to make your own. But you might want this cute little scalloped border, which that's why I bought a few. So I'm wondering if I wash this, if the feel goes away because of sizing. But what's making it feel puffy is it's got headliner or flex foam. Headliner is what we called it when Hancock sold it. Hancock's is gone. Now we have flex foam, and this is a Pellon product. You're going to want to buy it when you got the 60% off, and then they've got 20% off on top of that. Basel, they have it, and this is very expensive, probably $30 or $40 for 1 yard by 58 inches. And this is fusible on one side. Both of these come in one or double-sided fusible, so you could just iron your fabric to it. You don't have to sew. If all you have is a sewing machine, you just take your 2 layers of fabric, put one right side down, put your layer of foam or your batting, and right side up on the fabric on the top. Mark from one corner to the other, follow the line in an erasable pen, then 1/2 inch sew lines all the way. Just use the edge of your foot as your guide, or if you have a bar, and then go all the way to the other side. Turn the fabric, go from one side to the other, then you've got your cross hatching. So you can make your own. Now, oh, this one's really cute. I think that turned out really cute. And then we've got the bags like this for makeup bags. We've made a bunch of these just using those pieces over there. So, all right, if we're going to use, I'm going to go ahead and show you one using the placemat, just because I had one ready and it's cut. So I've got one piece that is, it's actually larger than, this is going to be the finished part, and it's actually larger than this, but I'll just cut everything down anyway. So I take one piece and I've got all the edges cut off, and you can make it any size you want. This is probably 8.5 by 10. Then I take off of one end, I take 2.5 to 3 inches. That's so I can put a zipper. So get a zipper that matches. I've got this zipper here. When I take them out of the package, I'm careful removing the staple, because it does tend to cut a hole in these. So you see how that needs ironed? I always iron them when I take them out of the package. I use some steam, and then I check them. Since I have ironed them, I don't want to make sure I didn't melt anything. Then I'm going to take the bottom section of the bag, and I'm going to take the zipper with the pull facing down, and this is way bigger than I need. Okay, You want it that way so that this doesn't go under the foot of either of your machines, really. Then I will go a little ahead and I will cut away the zipper tape. The reason I do that is so that I put the zipper tape in and it goes in under the foot and it goes against the cutter. Then put my foot down. I will note where the zipper teeth are. They're on the third mark, so I know that I want to hold it so that the teeth of the zipper are on that third mark, because I don't want the serger to sew into the teeth of the zipper. I don't want to take too much fabric off, just a little bit, so that it cleans up the edges. And I kind of go a little bit slow, just because I have sewn into the zipper several times. Okay, there is a cutter on the side of my machine, but I don't know, I tend to pick up scissors an awful lot. Then, now you notice this is the back of my fabric, this is going to be the front, because you put the pull on top of whatever face down, the pull's face down, on whatever you want to be the front of the bag. Then I'm going to pinch the fabric away from the zipper and towards itself, and I'm going to take it over here to the iron, and I'm going to press it so that I'm pressing down the fabric. I'm pressing the zipper flat. And I do use a lot of steam. So I pressed it towards the fabric. Then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine, and I'm just going to do a line of top stitching right on the edge. Really quick. Okay. So then I need the top piece for my bag. These are some great scissors. Jenny Haskins had them. They're applique scissors. They're called wave applique scissors. Oh, they are fantastic. I bought several pairs of those. I don't remember where I found them online. You'd have to do a Google search, because I got the first ones at a Jenny Haskins event, and then I got a pair as a gift from a friend, and I want them at every station I have for sewing. And that dealer was kind of nasty, and so I wouldn't go back and buy them from her. Okay, so I'm laying my upper part of my bag down on top of my zipper, and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to cut away part of the zipper tape once again. Put that underneath my foot. Note where my teeth are. Start sewing, and I've got to go a little bit slow because I want to lift my foot up and get my fabric in there, and then just cut away a small amount. Several times I've sewn into the zipper, and then I'm throwing away zippers, but I got these zippers when Hancock's was going out of business, so I paid very little for them. Alright, this time I want to press the fabric up towards the fabric so that your zipper lays flat. So I'm going to press up. Oh, you should have saw it. I've seen Dubai or somewhere like that where they have this thing, I can't remember what they call it, but they have this wall of dirt that comes into town, and we get it here. It's some weird name that they call it, and we get it here, and oh my god, it's terrible. It's just simply terrible. I need to pull some stitches out, but you can see this wall of dirt coming into town from miles away, and when it gets here, you can't breathe. You choke up, you take Mucinex all the time. I just absolutely hate that. When I cut away part of the zipper tape, I sewed at the beginning. I sewed into a little tiny piece of the zipper, so it's not going to open if I don't remove those threads from where the zipper teeth are. It's not in my bag, but I do this all the time. I know better. I shouldn't do it, but I do. I still got one more thread in there. but you can just cut it away because I've already top stitched on the one area that I'm working on. Okay. There. Now I got it out. Alright, so now I've got to go ahead and do a stitch here for top stitch for the upper part of the zipper to hold it in place. And I'm not back stitching because I'm going to go over all of this again, and back stitching, you lock your stitches in place. You don't need to lock your stitches in place if you're going to go back over them. In quilting, we don't lock our stitches unless we're not going over them again. So, alright, so now we've got our zipper in. This is the back. Then we're going to take whatever we want for our pocket, which this has the edge on it, and it's much bigger than my project. So what I'm going to do, this makes it easier for me, is I'm going to decide where I want it, lay it on top, and I'm going to go right next to the edge, and I'm going to do a really quick tack down stitch. Okay? Then I'm going to go over to the other side and do a really quick tack down stitch. You don't have to do this, but I do it because then I don't have to pin. I don't like pinning. So if I do this, now I wouldn't do this if I weren't putting the pocket in. Okay. So I'm going to cut this piece of fabric away. I cut it bigger because, you know, I knew there was only going to be a small piece left over, so it was no big deal to save. This is something that I will keep and I'll use as practice to make sure my stitches are proper on my machine. So now my pocket's on. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the back of my project and I'm going to put it on top, and it's a little smaller, which is no big deal. I'm going to lay it on top. Now if I want handles, this is where I would put the handles in. And I'll just put this one in because I can cut it out. I'll show you that in a second here. It's so easy. So you take your handle and you go ahead and pin it and make sure that it's going in the right direction and put it as equal distance away on either side of the edge of your project. Put a pin in it, and you want the pin to stick out. That's why I like extra sticking out the top. Then you take and put your back fabric on top. Okay? I'm going to take it to the sewing machine. And I'm just going to run a real quick stitches across. And then I'm going to serge it afterwards. Now you don't have to do this. The reason I'm doing it is so that I don't have to worry about the pins in my serger. Normally I do this on my serger, but I did start doing a quick tack down because then my handles don't move once I did that. Okay, so now I can pull the pins out. One of them I already pulled out. Pull the pins out. Now it's tacked down, so I don't need pins. Come over here to my serger, and everything's just going to get cut off. Now, you see how many, I'm going through 2 layers of placemat or quilted material, and then you've got your layers of handles, which that's like, I think when you count it, it's like 6 or 8 layers of fabric. And then, so on these, there's 2 layers of fabric, 2 layers of fabric, and then 8 layers in the handles, and then you've got 2 layers of the Basel or flex foam. Okay, so the next thing I do is the side that does not have the zipper pull, I just run it through the serger. Now, if you're crooked, I have a bag somewhere that I did, and I'm crooked. I don't know where I put it, but I'll just run it through again and straighten it back up. This is not rocket science. Okay. Then, I've got that side done. I want to do this side. This side I need to open the zipper and bring it a good halfway in. Then I pinch my zipper so that I see that it's together, and I hold it and I run it through. You also want to make sure if you've got long handles, you would make sure you look underneath and you're not getting them in your serging, or I stick them in the pocket. Now we're going through where this pocket is, 6 layers of fabric, 3 layers of flex foam. And I don't know that I'm cutting them all off evenly, so if I didn't, I'll just sew the seam again. Yep, it all went under. See, I didn't know if they weren't even. I didn't walk out to my cutting table and even it up. See how this is? You can see all 3 layers, they're not even. That's okay. Now I just put the bottom through. And if I don't like the size of the bag when I'm done, turn it right side out. Or wrong side out, like it is right now, and chop off some more. That's all you got to do. All right, so there's the bag. Now, we've got all of these. There's several things that you can do. This, I bought from Clotilda many years ago. It's a looper threader. It's not a looper threader, it's a thread threader. It's for using with tatting, or you know, you've got the lace and you put the ribbon through. It's got a flat section. Well, you take it and you put it underneath these stitches, and then you put the thread through and pull it through. This I've had since 1980s. I've got 2 of them. They're kind of tarnished looking. Missy Billingsley found John James sells them. It comes with a, what is it called? Bodkin. It's a bodkin set. This was like $9 or $10 for these 2. I have a ton of these needles. They're for at Joann's and places like that. There's plastic ones, there's metal ones. I've got a ton of them. There's my other bodkin. And you can buy these they're in the doll section at Joann's. Very cheap, $1 or so for a couple of them. And I've kept them in this little box forever. But I've always kept, I got several of these bodkins, and I keep them one on my magnetic strip. Then, when I saw Missy talking about these, I went ahead and bought 6 of them because I wanted more. So, if you don't want to do that, what I do is I lay the thread back on itself, and I want to reinforce all these seams anyway. So I'm going to go over them with my sewing machine, and I'm going to catch this thread in my sewing machine threads, and I'm going to back stitch where my zipper is. Then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to pull it up, and I'm just going to sew straight down. I've been doing this for years because I'm kind of lazy about pulling the threads through the back that way. Because I do this anyway, so why bother pulling the threads through when I'm going to sew over it anyway? So once I sew over it, I just cut the tail back off. I always leave my tails nice and long for that purpose. Then I go over and I'm going to sew down the top and the bottom. And when I get to that thread, I'm going to back tack over it a couple of times. Now here's where at the beginning and at the end you will back tack, because you're not going to sew over these lines again. Okay, then I'm going to cut the thread away, and I'm going to do the final side. And just put it on, and I got to do the bottom, but I won't do that now. I'll just come back in and do it, and then I cut it away. So you can get the bodkins and you can go through. That John James, I found those in a Google search, and they weren't that expensive. Well, to me, they were $6 or $9, so they're a little pricey, but worth it, because I've had the ones, mine, for 40 years, and, you know, I just figured I bought a few to give as gifts and a few as backups in case I ever lose mine. The other thing I was going to tell you about, and I don't know what I did with it, is, to thread your serger. I see them at Staples, has them. But if you have the Dream Machine or the Destiny, and you have the new couching foot, it came with this little wire tool. It's a looper threader. This is to use to thread the decorative thread through the foot, but you can use it to thread your loopers. But they also have a pack of 6. Just put in their looper threader on a Google search and they'll come up, pack of 6. Okay, so now I'm pushing that out. Just pay attention to how you're pushing the front out, because the little pocket may show up on the back, and that's kind of cute too when it's on the back of the purse. Mine's coming out on the front. I do have a new tool, and I don't know where I put it. I think it's over there by my ironing board. I didn't look long enough, but I have a tool that I bought Jenny Haskins' event. Spent a lot of money there, and poking out the corners. But this is a paper bone. I want to say boner, but bone. You fold the crease of paper when you're making cards and stuff. It works really good to poke out corners. And that new tool I have is made out of metal, and it's real nice too. But I don't know where I put it. Okay, so, my pocket is on the back. See the pocket? So all you have to do, if the pocket's not where you want it, just turn it to the right side. Because you didn't sew it wrong. Most of the time it just comes out on the wrong side. Alrighty, so there's that. So there's a new bag with a little tiny handle, and it's got a pocket. If you want, make it a lot bigger, use a whole placemat and make some iPad cases and do some little handles. That'd be cute. And you could do double handles too. You know, if you use the placemats, you could just sew up 3 sides and put some handles on either side. So you take your placemat, depends on how big your iPad is, but let's say this is 2 placemats, put them together, put a handle on here and a handle on either side, then just sew up the side seams. And you've got a tote bag. Or 2 of them makes a bigger tote bag. Okay, so if you've got a bunch of these panels and you want to make makeup cases, do it exactly the same. Sew down your zipper so that it's the pull is facing the fabric, and sew it on. Then just take the fabric from this is the back side, take the front of the fabric and bring it up to your front of your project. And I didn't cut those, so usually I do cut away, but you can lay this under here and just straighten out your fabric. Then, when you want to figure out how to, there's the front of my bag, so I want to turn it this way. You want to pinch down a certain amount of fabric. Well, no, I'm going to leave this at the top because that fish. So normally what I do is, if this is, I know this is the front because that's where the design is, and normally I will pinch down an inch or so, but that fish will be on the going towards the back. So this one I would just leave the zipper at the top like this. Then the side that does not have the zipper pull, I will just sew straight down. tails. Sorry, I'm hitting the camera. I leave a long tail. Then open the zipper halfway. Then pinch it back up together and put this side through. That's how quick and easy you can make these bags. Now, me, I will sew over, I will top stitch all my seams, and I will either run my threads back through, but then I just turn it wrong side or right side out after I sew it all up, and I've got a makeup bag. These are great gifts at the women's shelter and such. Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube, we have a Facebook group called Brother, Dream Machine, Babylock, and sign Babylock Destiny. Then, if you're watching this on our Brother page, I am now putting all of the videos on YouTube, and the username is Cindy, C-I-N-D-I, Crafter. So I just got to work this and I've got to iron it, but we'll end up with the little bags. So C-I-N-D-I Crafter, and you can get on our YouTube page. And that way there, the reason I'm putting them on YouTube now is I don't have to, I can label stuff quite easily on YouTube and you can find it. If it's not on YouTube, you have to go through all kinds of stuff to find everything. So it's much easier to label. And then I copy the link and put it into the group. So if you're in the group, it's not a big deal. You're going to see this regardless. But if you want, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and that way there you can get to the YouTube page and find it instantly.